Hi everyone, it's Frank Valdez with another Kilson Street 2014 Santa Ana election coverage, and I'd like to remind you guys, please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and please check out our website, kilsonstreet.com, for more updates. Today on the special, we're going to have an interview with Reyna, running for mayoral candidate of City of Santa Ana. And welcome, thank you for coming, thank you for your time.
Absolutely, my pleasure to be here.
And the way I like to start off is just a little bit about you. Who is Roman? What do you think you represent? Just a little bit intro.
Sure, no, not a problem. My name is Reyna, born and raised in the city of Santa Ana, lived here my entire life, and have had my professional career completely here in the city of Santa Ana. I think I know the challenges on a first-hand basis. I work with them, as I mentioned, for the last 3 decades, and I think I bring a grassroots component and a true voice of the residents to City Hall and to the campaign and to the mayor's race.
Okay, so something that's kind of interesting to me is like why people do what they do. So obviously there's a reason why you're running for mayor. What's your opinion on the state of the city now?
The state of the city today, I think it lacks in a lot of different areas. In some aspects, we have some strengths, but Santa Ana being the youngest community in the nation, I think we're far behind in technology. The average age in Santa Ana is 29, and I don't think we've embraced technology as much as we can as a 21st century tool. I think some of the decisions that we've made in the past have brought us into an area that is potentially dangerous, in the sense that some of the policies that were made prior to lost us our fire department. So if and when something takes place, we may not have the support that we need from the fire department. Currently, we subcontract out to the Orange County Fire Authority, so they cover the entire county. Some people might say the economy fell. The economy fell for everybody, and a lot of other cities didn't lose their fire department, but we did. And I think that's partly because of our current mayor and the policies that he made and putting us in a vulnerable position, which I think we need to rectify that as soon as we possibly can.
So the mayor's been in office now for 20 years, right?
26 years.
26
20
years.
as the mayor, and 6 in city council.
Okay. So 20 years he's been mayor. What do you think you're going to bring about that's going to be different?
Well, it's easy, I mean, anybody sitting in that seat for 26 years is bound to get complacent, which means they're not working as hard as they possibly can for us. So when somebody comes in new like myself, you're hungry, you're eager to learn, you're eager to roll up your sleeves and get to work. You don't want to sit on your behind and just watch the show go by. I think he's complacent. I think that he sits down and just watches the city as it moves, rather than being proactive, rolling up his sleeves, and bringing in more resources, more jobs, more companies into our community. I think what I bring to the table is an aggressive eagerness to get to work. I think I bring the perspective of the residents, the frontline, everyday blue-collar workers, into consideration, because that's where I come from. So I think a combination of those two things is a good, strong foundation.
Okay, so being that the foundation of the people you want to help is the blue-collar type worker, what impact are you going to come in and start doing to directly affect those people, that part of the city?
Sure. Well, every program costs money. It's difficult to bring in new entities because there's going to be a fee involved with that, unless you're creative. So 5 years ago, the city of Santa Ana, Scott Kuttner, created this social drill down compact report. And what they did was they studied 4 square miles in the city of Santa Ana, how much money was being generated out of that particular environment. Over $1 billion was being generated. 750 million of that was being spent outside of our community. You times that times 26 square miles, it's a lot of money that's being spent outside. If we could captivate just 10% of that, that would generate $10 million in additional revenue without having to tax anybody. But how do we keep Santa Ana dollars in Santa Ana? The very first day I was on the city council, I said shop in Santa Ana. We need to keep our dollars in Santa Ana intentionally. Tustin has work where you must, but shop in Tustin. Garden Grove has big, buy in Garden Grove. We need a similar program. Now what we do is we create an incentive program. So what we do is we tell all of our residents, say, attend your PTA, and we will give you this business card. We'll give you this card that will allow you 10% off of shopping here locally in the city of Santa Ana. So we talk to local merchants and we tell them, what would you do for a brand new customer? Says, wow, Roman, I would do anything. I'd give 10% off. I'd give 2 for 1. I'd pay their taxes. So I've already spoken with about 35 different local businesses that are eager to participate in this program. So this family member now that attends their PTA, if they use this card and they shop $100 at 10 different places, they spend $1,000, they just saved $100. $100 that they can invest back into their family, whether it be a family outing or whether it be investing into their own children's education. How is that not a win-win? On top of that, family members may not have kids. Let's encourage them to go to their neighborhood associations. Santa Ana is a very unique city that has neighborhood associations. Past founder of my neighborhood association and vice president of communication linkage, which is the umbrella for all the neighborhood associations. And we tell them the same thing. For every neighborhood association member will receive this card that they're able to redeem it at 10% shopping locally. Now they're able to impact them directly, not only financially, but now information. They get information firsthand. It's not secondhand. They're able to make better decisions for themselves. People informed tend to make better decisions. Now the residents win because they're getting a discount shopping locally. They get more empowered and more information by being involved with their PTA or neighborhood association. The local businesses win because now Santa Ana dollars are in Santa Ana dollars, so they're actually expanding their programs and their businesses. God forbid, they might even actually hire some additional people, some local college students from Santa Ana. The city of Santa Ana generates more tax revenue. How is that not a no-brainer? Why have we done that before? I've been championing that since day one on the city council. That has direct impact into the community.
So what do you think are some of the steps you're going to take to get the youth more into getting themselves informed, getting themselves educated, making sure that the younger generations are getting education, doing things for themselves, things like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So in a weird way, you're kind of talking about two different entities at one time. The city itself doesn't have direct influence over the educational process. That's specifically the school district. The school district has its own governing body. They're the ones that are elected. They're the ones that manage that particular aspect of it. In saying so, the city and the school district need to have a better relationship. We need to have a stronger relationship. Not everybody on the city council, unfortunately, believes that we should have a strong relationship, that the school district should do their job and we'll do ours. It takes a community to raise a family. Everybody needs to be at the table to be able to make this sustained change, not just temporary change, but sustained change. And on top of that, in addition to that, what else can we do as an individual? Personally, I volunteer for a program called Youth in Government. These are youth, of course, that are involved with government activities, learning how bill processes work. Now, how many kids do you know want to come after school to learn about the government? I know adults that don't want to do this. I've been volunteering for this program for 7 years. Absolutely phenomenal program. It's part of the state YMCA model legislation program that's been around for 66 years. Today, when we leave, when we get in our car, we put that seatbelt on. That law originated from this program. That law originated from the Santa Ana kids from this program. So our young people are able to make a sustained change and difference. So the last 7 years, I've been volunteering my time specifically to teach young people how to become leaders, college students as well as high school students, as well as parents. Right now, there's a gentleman named Brian Leal, 22 years old. Just the other day, held educational candidate forum, to the only educational candidate forum thus far for Santa Ana Unified, which is the largest school district in the county, to be able to educate voters of who the candidates are and why these candidates deserve your vote. And who put this together? A 22-year-old. This is the second time he did it. The first time he did it when he was 20. You talk about empowerment, you talk about creating sustained change. It takes people into other people's lives to do so. It has to be an intentional effort because it doesn't happen by itself. In today's world, in today's technology, there's got to be an app for that. You know what? And there's certain components of it that you can't not remove the human component of that. We all look for role models and mentors and guidance. Nobody knows everything. We need to put people back into people's lives.
You mentioned about technology. It's something we were talking about a little bit before we started, and you have a very strong opinion on how we should embrace it and do things with it. You want to?
Sure, no, absolutely. Unfortunately, I think our city's a little behind on technology. We need to catch up a little bit more to the 21st century world and tools that are available to us, and in a variety of capacity. Right now, if you wanted to start a business in Santa Ana, you have to come to City Hall, get in line, get some paperwork, go home, fill it out, come back into City Hall, get back in line to submit it. Some of that process should be online. so that entrepreneurs and newer businesses that are trying to come into Santa Ana can streamline that particular process. In addition to that, we need to figure out some of the cost of our permit process, but some of that should be online, which is technology. Today, in the past, our fire department, before they got let out of Santa Ana, had a CAD system, which was a way to respond the fastest to a call. The way our PD is broken up into, it's in 4 departments, 4 different grids. And if you live in a particular grid and you have a call for a service, they're going to send you the closest unit within that grid. That doesn't necessarily mean the closest unit. It's the closest unit in that grid. But if we use technology, now we could expedite the response time by actually having the closest unit respond to you. That would be fantastic.
Why do you think that's not happening right now?
People haven't championed it. People haven't seen what technology is. I think our current mayor, who should be championing it, is stuck in the past. The things that he talks about are successes from the past. The things that the focus is as far as young people and technology is not there. It's from the past. In fact, the picture that he uses at City Hall is his very first picture from 1986, which is a past. We are at a crossroads in our city right now. We are at a crossroads. Do you want the same typical politics, the same old style? Or do we want a better, stronger, brighter future? And if we need that, we need to work together. It just doesn't happen by itself. Now, the last thing about technology. What if we offered free Wi-Fi at all city facilities, specifically parks? All the negative entities that are happening in the parks would leave because we would have all our kids on the campus, on the park facilities, doing their homework, getting access to information, doing their reports. While they're there, they'll be exposed to other resources, other sports programs, to be able to fight obesity, to be able to fight their self-esteem or lack of self-esteem, and get involved even more so.
How is that not data? Are you intimate with the I guess the data on because health is something that to me is important.
Oh, very much so.
I've noticed too, just throughout the whole country, right?
Oh, absolutely. And in part of that, I thought to myself, what can we bring to the city to address the health issues? Well, let's have more active activities. Let's get kids to play sports and let's get parents to play sports. But the way it works is, if I was a parent, I'd take my kid to the Little League and I'd watch them play while I sat down. Or vice versa. I play basketball. So I would go play basketball, bring my kids to watch me, but then they're not active. So we started to work on a 5K we just had not too long ago. A 5K is only 3.2 miles. It's easy, walkable for everybody. Grandmother can push the little baby in the push cart and in the car seat to get them through the 3.5 miles. This is something, a 5K is something that the entire community, the entire family can get behind. Not one or two, but the entire family. And that addresses obesity. That addresses the health issues, or at least a component of it. Now, we do this on an annual basis. What is it going to create? It's going to create walking clubs. It's going to create jogging clubs as they start to prepare for the next 5K in Santa Ana. How cool is that?
Something I read about you before you came in was you're going to school right now. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. What are you studying?
I go to Springfield College. It's actually based in Massachusetts. They have a satellite office here.
Okay.
Home of basketball. Dr. James Naismith was actually working there when he created it. And so my degree is in humanities, human services.
Yeah.
I've always worked in this particular field, so I'm going after my degree. Unfortunately, I never got diagnosed having dyslexia until after I graduated high school.
Oh, you have dyslexia.
So I never knew that I had a learning disorder. All I heard was my adults telling me that I'm not buckling down, I'm not working hard enough, that I'm dumb. It affected the self-esteem. It affected my desire to want to learn and to grow. So as soon as I graduated high school, I really wasn't embracing college or higher education because it was difficult for me. I ended up working in the nonprofit and earning my way all the way up as high as I possibly can. And I was doing really good and had a good position, a good pay. And when the economy came in, unfortunately, budget cuts came. And like others, I lost my job. And when I try to get back into other organizations, Roman, we know you. This is great. We know the work that you're doing. Oh, you don't have a degree? Sorry, we can't hire you, which was a tough reality. And I definitely understood it. And I tried going back in the past and would get detracted, but I have a clarity now. And so no matter what happens in my world, in my life, I will get my degree on this particular component of stage of my life, and I'm looking forward to it. So I enjoy learning better now. I understand how my learning disabled works, and how do I work within that to be able to grasp the information and knowledge that I need to.
In parallel, you're doing city council, which is, I imagine, is a lot of time too. Involved.
It's a full-time position with part-time availability and pay. So you have every business person out there that has a concern or an issue. You have every nonprofit that is having some kind of special event. You have every resident that has an issue and a concern. And all of them want to talk to you about whatever issue that they have. We all have full-time other jobs, minimally 40 hours. On top of that, whatever additional committees that each council member is part of. There's a couple of subcommittees within our own city structure, and then there's a couple of regional committees that different council members participate in, which requires even more time and energy as well. So the time commitment is astronomical. It truly is. I don't know if we're at the point where we need full-time council members, but I will say that we have full-time problems with part-time people addressing them.
In your time that you've been there, what do you feel is the biggest impact you've made thus far?
Well, I would say that I brought in the 5K. I would say that I helped bring in a brand new city manager that our current city mayor did not want to bring in, and David Cavazos, who was running Phoenix, the 6th largest city in the nation, to come to our city to help us out. I think that's a big feather in our cap. I noticed the parks and recreational programs and how slim they were, knowing that an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. So if we can get our kids involved with positive activities now, we won't have to worry about them robbing and stealing and shooting 7-8 years down the line. A lot of the problems that we have today is because those programs were cut during the recession. And so our kids had very little options. So I was able to work with our rest of our colleagues to bring in $1.8 million to our youth programs.
So with Polito in office for, you said 26 years,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of experience.
Yes.
What would you say to anyone who says, well, you don't have 26 years, you don't have anywhere near 26
Sure.
years of experience? What
Sure.
do you say to people who would say something like that?
Well, I would say two things. 26 years is definitely a lot of experience. So what have you done for us lately with those experiences? What resources and tools did you bring to better our community? And the successes that he talks about are 20 years old. So anybody sitting in that seat is going to be complacent. At the same time, there's nothing wrong with being new to an environment. There's a lot of people in history that were brand new to the world environment that they were in, but yet still able to succeed. When he at one point moves on, there's going to be a new city. There's going to be a new mayor. If I win in 8 years from now, there's going to be a new mayor. There's always going to be somebody that's new to that particular seat that doesn't necessarily have that experience of sitting on a mayor. But what comes into play is sitting on the city council, sitting on the city, the school board, hiring at a national level for a search for the superintendent for the largest school district in the county, going on a national search for a city manager at the city. I think those are pretty big decisions. I think those are pretty big experiences, and I'm not sure what other big decisions that would be out there. When I sat on the school district, everybody was going through budget cuts. People were actually having furlough days, where instead of going to school for 5 days a week, they were going to school for 4 days a week. They were cutting up to 15 days of school days from our kids. We fought to be the only school district not to do so. Our kids need more education. We sent our kids to school for 180 days. Their peers in other countries, they go to school for 240 days. So our kids that graduate from 1st to 12th grade, they get 12 years of experience. Good luck. Congratulations. Their peers that they're going to compete with in the same time frame get 20 years of experience. It doesn't sound like a fair starting point. Our kids not only are our future, but we need to actually put time and energy behind that, saying, es muy fácil para hablar, pero para trabajar es diferente. And esas son las cosas que necesitamos hacer. And I think day in and day out are those things that I actually do. I don't jump up and down and say, look at me, look at what I'm doing. I do the work that needs to be done and let the work speak for itself. Either if you're a righteous individual, you'll see it. If you're not a righteous individual, you'll see whatever it is that you want to see.
We like to give everyone an avenue to let people what's going on with themselves regarding the election, where they can find you, what events you're having. Would you like to share any of those things you have going on?
Sure. Well, Every campaign, we're looking for a lot of volunteers to get out in the community and walk and meet volunteers. So every Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 4, we are in the community walking. Happen to have some time on your hands, come out and volunteer. During the week, we do phone banking where we make phone calls on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Whatever time I'm able to squeeze it to go out there and walk during the week, I do as well. The majority of the fundraising at this point of the election process has been done. We obviously can use more dollars and more volunteers, and you can go to my website and donate whatever you feel comfortable with, or donate your time. Reyna2014.com. Any comments you'd like to leave, or any requests of yard signs that you'd have? We got 17 days left to the election, and we're working hard every single day to the last day.
Very cool. So now that you've let everyone know kind of where they can find you, do you have any final remarks, some final statements that you want everyone to know that regarding your run at the mayoral office?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing I would say is be really careful and smart of where you get your information from. Some people out there are unfortunately haters and will create things that are negative, that are not true. They utilize the blogs to do so. A blog is just somebody's personal information. If you want some facts, make sure you go to an appropriate site. There are a couple of investigating nonprofit sites locally that you might want to take a look at, like Voice of OC. At the end of the day, what we're talking about is the betterment of our city, of our community. And you really have to ask yourself, what do you want our leader to be? Somebody that's stuck in the past with the old mentality, the old political games? Or do you want somebody that's going to bring in a brighter future? Somebody that's putting all that negative politics to the past and really embracing the community? As I mentioned, I'm born and raised in the city of Santa Ana. I lived here my entire life. I intentionally kept my career here in the city because I want to be able to give back for those that have helped me. I think my words are one and the same of my actions, and I think my actions speak loudly of helping my community. The best indicator for future behavior is past behavior. My behavior in the past has been one of rolling up my sleeves and getting to work. Our current mayor is one that operates in the gray. He's constantly doing things that are inappropriate. He's currently being investigated for some of those particular actions. I think that shows what his history is and what's the potential for his behavior. I think it shows the complete difference of who I am and who he is. I encourage you to get out, utilize your voice, let people know what you stand for, what you like, what you support. November 4th, come out and vote. Hopefully vote for me.
Cool. Roman, thanks for being here. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And everyone, make sure again, remember to vote, because this thing will kind of not happen if you don't get out there and, voice your opinion through a ballot. So you want to tell everyone to vote too?
Please vote. If you're an absentee voter, make sure you get your absentee vote in quickly. If not, make sure you go out the day of the election, November 4th. If you haven't registered to vote yet, October 20th is the deadline. Please register to vote.
Awesome. And from Kilson Street TV, thank you very much, Rowan, for being with us.
Absolutely.
And everyone, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, kilsonstreet.com.com.